Hey y'all, welcome back to Made It Out. Today we are joined by professional wrestler Daria Berenato, formerly WWE's Sonya Deville. She was the first out lesbian in the WWE, and she's been a trailblazer for representation in that space. And the world was shocked to find out this week that her contract was not renewed with the WWE, and we are so honored to be her first interview since. So we're going to talk about her life story, her life in the WWE, and what is next to come. Okay, I'm obsessed with you already.
Oh, I'm obsessed with you.
I feel like we're fast friends.
Yes.
We just met.
Besties.
Thank you for being here on such a crazy, chaotic week.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yes.
Thanks for having me. I like you both. I hate that you're behind the camera. I really want you to come on over. So I came here today just to give some context. And I was waiting for you to sit right here in the middle.
She literally was like, are you not going to sit down?
I didn't know this was a one-man band. But here we are. But I'm going to keep referring to you and talking to you. I want you to be a part of this. Yeah, my publicist as well. So we're all here together. We're in this together. One big gay room.
One big gay room. I love that.
Your bed's also right there, which is hilarious. I'm sorry to out you guys. But your bed's just hanging out right there. It's a nice bed, though.
It's an intimate setting that we like to create.
I really like
it.
It's very comfy. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, so before we get to all of that,
yes.
I want to, and all the wrestling stuff, I want to hear just about you.
Oh.
I want to know, like, what were you like as a kid?
I have kids, so this is scary to say. I was kind of bad. I wasn't bad in the sense of like disrespectful or anything like that. I was very good, and I got along great with adults, more so than my peers.
Were you the oldest? Do you have siblings?
I'm a middle child.
You're middle, okay.
Yeah. My older sister's like 3 years older. My little sister's like 6 years younger.
Okay.
So there was a big gap there. But I didn't have much structure. So I, got into kind of partying and down a path early. But I don't look at that as a negative. Yeah. Will I do that the same with my kids? No, I'll kill you. But it was good because I grew up fast.
Yeah.
I was very worldly, and I kind of had my wits about me, and it prepared me for the next journey that was to come, which was when I started fighting MMA, training MMA when I was 15. I decided that that's what I wanted to do. I was very career focused in school. I didn't like school at all.
Me
and I was like, right? It's like, yeah, it just wasn't, I couldn't do it for another 4 years in college. So I was like, what is going to be the next step? And so I looked up to a couple female fighters at the time. This is pre-females being in the UFC, pre-Ronda Rousey. So there wasn't a huge path already paved, but there was a few fighters that I really looked up to and loved. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I'm not going to go collegiate with any of the sports that I was playing in high school. I played basketball, soccer, lacrosse. That wasn't going to be my future. I was like subpar at all of them, but I was like, maybe I could be a fighter. I was very aggressive, fouled out of every basketball game, yellow red flags every soccer game. Like my coaches literally had to pull me aside and be like, okay, this isn't football. Like the goal is to score and to get the ball, but like you don't have to like check the girl I did indoor soccer, so I would do a lot of like body checking into the wall. It was very, very aggressive and fast. So that's what I had going for me. But the shooting and all that was not there. And so I was like, where are my natural abilities? Where can they take me in life? MMA. And so I started fighting MMA. The day of my high school graduation, this is kind of a crazy story. Me and my mom packed up my car and we took it to South Florida so that I could train with one of the best MMA fight gyms, American Top Team. And I always wanted to act and fight. That was like my life. That path took me a lot of different places. I moved back to North Jersey, right outside of New York. I lived in Hoboken for a year. I produced my first independent film. I was bartending, fighting, all the things.
Scrappy.
And then, just a hustler, always born hustler. And then after that, I was like, I need to move to LA because LA is the best of both worlds. There's great fight gyms and also, of course, like a sea of acting opportunities. And so I drove my car out to LA with like $3,000 in my bank account. I started working at Armani Exchange in the Beverly Center.
Oh my gosh.
And then bartending in Los Feliz. I always say that wrong.
I never know how to say it.
Okay, well that.
Yeah.
And then the rest is kind of history. I was fighting MMA, I was hosting, I was doing all kinds of things, and that led me to becoming good friends with Maria Menounos and her husband, Kevin.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And they called me one day and said, hey, I know you love fighting, but like there's this world, WWE, and I think you'd be perfect for it. It's fighting and it's performing. Will you give it a shot? And I was like, it was for the reality show that's like a competition show. And I was like, well, yeah, competition show, like I'm in. And so that was the beginning. And that was like almost 11 years ago.
Wow.
10 years ago, yeah.
It's like such an LA story of just like, yeah, packed up the car, didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Worked your ass off. I love it.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
No.
But there's so much.
I love it. I want to hear about your queer journey.
Yeah.
I want to go back to kind of when you were a kid. What was the messaging around queer people? Did you have any queer people in your life?
No. I grew up in a very small, like farm town in South Jersey. It was like cows and horses and not a lot of people. And it was very heterosexual. I don't think there was there was not one out gay person in my entire school.
Wow.
And my school was comprised of 4 neighboring towns. So out of all of those people, there was no one that was out. So I didn't have any visual representation in front of me. Also, I didn't think at any point that it was an option for me to be gay. Mm-hmm. I felt like the stereotype that the world had put out at that time wasn't me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I'm not gay. And so it was a lot of like doubt and like, no, I'll end up with a guy. But that led me down an interesting road because I would find myself in scenarios where I'd be like, just drunk making out with a girl or, just like trying to experiment when it was socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And it's socially acceptable when girls party sometimes to, make out because that's just fun and, it didn't mean anything.
Right.
I'm actually going to tell you a story that I've never told anywhere. But it's very interesting and it's very telling of my journey. And only in retrospect that I realized like what that was at the time. But I actually hooked up with a girl in I want to say my sophomore year of high school. And she was, I was dating guys, she was dating guys. It was just this one thing that it happened. And it was never to be spoken about again, of course. We both promised, and there was, another friend that was there and knew, and we all kind of made this pact, don't ever tell anybody ever, take this to your grave. Because I guess that was just our mentality then. We can't tell anyone, we're going to, we'll get crucified. And, high school's a rough place sometimes. And it got out.
Oh, fuck.
And I'll never forget just the feeling. It's so funny because I look back and I'm like, why did you feel so guilty? Why did you I felt like I did something horrible.
Yeah.
And now everybody knew. And it really did. It shaped the rest of my high school journey because I lost that group of friends.
Oh.
And I don't know, looking back, yes, they were judging me. And yes, it was a big thing. But was I also judging myself so harshly that I wouldn't accept their acceptance? If they had it,
right?
You know what I mean? I wasn't okay with it.
Yeah.
They certainly were judging it. And it started rumors all around the school and it was this whole thing. And I just, from that point on, I lost that group of friends.
Yeah.
And so I went a different path and I, was dating guys and trying to fit in and trying to not be seen as much as possible for the rest of high school. So that was something interesting that, in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that definitely shaped my journey and how I felt for the next 10 years.
Of course.
Yeah.
How do you think it affected your coming out or your acceptance of yourself?
It's funny because although I had this awareness that people were going to judge me or in high school, it was the second I got out of school, it was I don't really care what anybody thinks. I was very nonchalant about things. I did something very ridiculous where I produced my first independent film because I read a bunch of scripts with this director I was working with. And of course, one of the scripts was this girl who was from a conservative family who came out. And so I read the script and I was like, I need to make this movie and I'm going to star in it because we have no budget and, I want to act too. And I ended up casting the girl opposite me. She became my girlfriend in real life.
Oh, wow.
So it was this weird, art imitate life. It was me manifesting and trying to make things happen because I did not know how to be gay. Yeah. And that might sound like the most ridiculous thing, but I didn't know how to be gay.
Yeah, of course.
I knew no one that was gay. I didn't know how to hit on a girl. Like I just didn't know how to be gay. And so I was like, well, if I make this movie, maybe some, like, I don't know. I don't know what I thought would come from it, but it would give me some sort of
like an outlet. Like you can live through it.
Yes.
Totally. I feel like we all feel like that when we first come out. Like,
right?
What the fuck am I doing? You're like in high school again or like in middle school.
Yes.
Like you just have no clue. I felt the same way. And that's actually how I met Matilda. I was doing TikToks. Like, I'm 28. I just came out.
No.
I don't know how to be with a girl. I don't have any friends.
That's
and she like found me on
amazing.
TikTok because I was just like so incredibly lost. So I
Right.
feel like that's such a normal.
And there wasn't TikTok then. There wasn't Instagram then. It was kind of like, it was like, where do I go? What do I do? And so, and all the meanwhile, still trying to live a second life and date guys, you know, because I'm just trying to do what I think I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But eventually that movie led to dating that girl. And I was weird about it. Like I would just bring her around like my family and like openly like flirt with, like I was trying to make it obvious. Like I have nothing to hide. You guys can take it or leave it. Like that was always my mentality. And my parents are amazing. And they were both like, my dad was like, I'll never forget. I brought this girl to the Jersey Shore, like a restaurant on the beach. And my dad was there with his girlfriend at the time. And I'll never forget, we walk up and I go like, what do you want to drink? Like ordering her drink for her. And I order it. And my dad looks at his girlfriend and goes, I told you, I knew it. And I knew like what they meant. Yeah. That's all they said, but I knew what they meant. They had talked about it prior. They had noticed, he had picked up on it because he's intuitive and he's my dad. And that was the only discussion we ever had.
What a cute little like acceptance moment of just like, okay, this is what it is. Move along. Like, I love that.
And that's literally the only conversation we ever had about it. And now he loves my wife. Aww. Him and my wife are best friends. I mean, she calls him, she lost her dad. So my dad and her is like a father figure to her. Aww. Does everything for us. So yeah, and my mom is amazing and would have my back through. I mean, I could tell her I did anything and she would be there. Yeah. So I'm very lucky in that sense.
Love that. What did you feel like as far as the wrestling world or not WWE, but just like the fighting world and going into that, not having gay representation, did that ever give you pause?
No, I never even thought about it.
Never even thought about it.
Because even though I was living my free life, I wasn't super out. Like, I don't think I had pictures like kissing my girlfriend on Instagram or anything, but we were together and like people knew if they were close to me, but outside of that, nobody really knew. And I guess I just didn't identify with it yet. Like I didn't.
Interesting.
I was like, oh, I'm Daria. I'm me. This is what I have to offer. I'm an athlete. I'm a fighter. And I never thought twice about it. I swear on everything. I never thought, am I going to be judged or is this going to hurt my chance? Like I really didn't think too much into it. And then, you know, I had the public coming out moment when I was auditioning for the reality show. Yeah. And the audition portion ended up being aired as like the first episode. And in that episode, WWE executives were asking like questions to the contestants or the potential contestants. Like, are you in a relationship? What do you do for a living? Like all the random questions they ask. Yeah. And mine just so happened to be, are you in a relationship?
Wow.
So that was like the coming out moment, but it wasn't until after I answered and came out that I then started to freak out and was like, what did I just do? Is that bad? Like, I didn't know what to make of it. Yeah. But my real trepidation with it was that the girl I was dating at the time wasn't out to even her parents. And she came from a very conservative family that was not okay with it. And that was made clear to us. So that was my concern in the moment was I got to go call her, tell her I did this. Her mom's watching this show because she knows her friend Daria is on the show. So now she's hearing her daughter's name in the same sentence with that's my girlfriend. So it was like this whole like thing where I was like, oh, what did I just do to her? Really?
Right. After that moment, do you feel like you started to like embrace that or identify with it more?
Yeah, I had no choice. It was like I went from this small town kid who had a dream, believed in herself, but also at the same time, it was a big dream. Like I didn't know that I was going to make it in the spotlight. I didn't know that I was going to make it in fighting or wrestling or acting. But it happened. And now I was thrust onto TV for the first time ever. And I'm gaining all these followers and getting all these messages and 90% of them being positive and all these people being like, oh my gosh, I've watched, you know, some people saying things like I've watched wrestling my entire life and I've always wanted a female that could represent us or me or whatever. And so that was amazing. And then people not from the wrestling world being like, you're so inspiring. I can't believe you did that. And I'm reading these going, what? Like, what did I do? I just answered a question on TV. And I just was so just taken back by the response that I was like, well, now I have a responsibility. I need to learn to accept myself and love myself because all these other people can and do. And how can I be a representation for them if I haven't even worked out my stuff yet?
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so that kind of thrust me into this evolution that became the process of me accepting myself.
What did that look like?
It was wild. I was 21 and I was now single in the WWE once I got hired, living on my own in Orlando, Florida, which I didn't know anybody aside from the girls that I was now training with at the performance center we have. And yeah, I was just trying to figure it all out. I was going on dating apps, but also for the first time, but also nervous. Like people would be like, oh, I know her. Like, and so that was complicated, but I didn't know how else to meet other women.
Of course.
And so I'm just on these dating apps, hoping I don't get recognized and hoping someone to, whatever. And I'm going on these random dates that were few and far between, but like they were happening and just trying to figure out what I wanted. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I wanted. Like I'd only had that one experience with that girlfriend at the time. And so I just was out there wrestling on TV and trying to find my identity.
Yeah.
So it was all happening at the same time.
It's very clunky at first, I feel like.
Messy. Yeah. Messy. I look back and I'm like, oh gosh, I hope I don't see any of those people again.
Okay, so now you're like, you've embodied this identity. You're kind of moving into this WWE world, which I'm not like the most avid sports watcher in general.
Right.
I'm not super familiar with WWE, but from my perception, it feels super male dominated and conservative leaning. And I'm just wondering, like, was there any nerves now that you are this like out lesbian woman entering into that space? No.
But I don't know if it was ignorance or just my personality. I don't know. But no, I'm like, I got along with everybody.
Yeah.
And I never, backstage at least, like between coworkers and stuff like that, I never had an issue where I felt judged because I was like, never.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, it's Daria. Like I was boys with the boys and I was girls with the girls. And that just was what it was. So again, I don't know if it was ignorance or what it was, but I really didn't have any fear. Like, I'm this thing in the locker room and, I stand out. Like, no, I was just friends with everybody.
What about with the fan perception or like with the fan response?
Yeah, the fans, it was bittersweet because I had this huge, loyal, passionate group of fans now, the LGBTQ plus community, that had my back. Yeah. And the outpouring of love that came from that was so positive. But then, of course, with anything you do in the public eye, there's scrutiny and there's criticism. And it's like evolved throughout my career, right? Like there was moments in my career where I really leaned into it. And in the beginning more so. In the beginning, I was so excited to be out, that feeling. And I made rainbow gear and I wore rainbow ring gear. And we actually got WWE at one point to make rainbow Sonya Deville shirts, and some other wrestlers actually joined in on that. And so there was moments where I was just like so excited to be out that yes, I identified more with it. But as time went on, that became not as important to me. I was like, me just being me in my skin and in my shoes was enough.
Yeah.
And people knew my story and they could find my story. And I wanted the notion or the message to my fans to be be whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask for permission. And that's where I think my feeling of like, when you say like, did you feel like, well, no, because I'm not asking them for permission to like me.
Yeah.
They're either going to like me or they're not. And luckily it worked out in my favor and I got along with a lot of people. But like, even if it weren't the case, like I'm not asking for permission to be accepted by you.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm a wrestler. I'm a fighter. I'm an actress. I'm an entrepreneur. Like I'm Daria. So yes, that's part of me, but I didn't want it to completely define me.
Yeah.
As time went on.
I feel like that's also something we all go through when we first come out of this like rainbows everywhere.
Yes,
like, you know,
yes,
just
yes.
like, I need you to know, you know.
Yes.
And then you kind of settle into this like confidence about,
Yeah.
especially like, I don't know, in a more femme presenting, like
100%.
you know, then you're just like, okay, I am who I am. And, you know, that's part of me. And so I feel like that's very normal. But I also feel like this is why representation in every category is so important, because how you're saying, like, you got along with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, backstage, the fans love you, you know, whatever. It's like you are probably changing minds and hearts and opinions without even trying or having to really force, just
Right.
by existing and being there.
And that's what I want to do. I don't want, like, I'm not the type of person at this point in my life, and my mind could change, so I preface that, but to be like, you have to accept, you have to believe in what I believe in. Like, my values are the only right values. Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
I completely respect anyone and everyone for their opinions, as long as they're not harmful to people and they're not hateful. But like, you're allowed to have your opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion, and you don't need to love me and I don't need to love you.
Yeah.
But we can all coexist. And I just feel like sometimes there's so much hate, and it comes from maybe passion and love, but it turns into like hate sometimes. And I don't like that. And I don't want to be a part of it. And so I'm like, no, I get along with people across the board from every walk of life. And that's something, you know, that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I can, yeah.
And that's probably like the most effective way to truly create change. So as hard as it may be, I feel like harnessing that is the way to change the world.
100%. It's like, well, like women in the WWE, right? Like it's so much more prevalent now, obviously. And in wrestling in general, like it is more prevalent now. But like, I don't think every promo needs to be women in no, like just be there.
Yeah.
Just be, you are the representation by being there.
Yeah.
By putting on main events, by doing all these things and moving the needle forward, just by being there and killing it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, sometimes it doesn't have to be loud, but I love that, you know, everyone has a different path. So I love whatever works for you.
Yeah. I've made it my entire, you know, career. So, you know, different strokes for different folks, you know?
Strokes for different folks. No, and I'm proud. And listen, that's all I have to say, that I do pride parades every year.
Yeah.
I do all the things too, because I love being a part of the community. So it's not to say that. Yeah, and you'll find rainbow stuff in my house too. So not knocking anyone's
Just fucking with you.
Oh, now I'm sweating.
When I was a kid, I was like the singer kid. Like I wanted to sing, and I wanted to.
So you were like actually talented, artistic. Yeah, I envy those people. I can't sing. I can't hold a note. Like I can't carry a note. I don't have rhythm. So yeah, I admire you.
I was like the American Idol watcher.
Oh,
like that type of stuff versus sports. So sometimes I wonder, like, if there would have been more out representation,
right,
in that space, like, would I subconsciously felt more empowered to pursue that career?
That's interesting. There might be something to that. I remember watching Ellen DeGeneres when I was young, and then my life goal became to host my own show.
Really?
Like I was obsessed. Yeah, because I thought it was so cool, and like I thought she was just so cool. I mean, Ellen is so cool. She's hilarious, and so I'm like, ooh, I want to do that when I'm older. So maybe there is something, definitely to that, where it's like I think anybody, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, whatever it is, like if you can see someone similar to you in whatever relatable ways doing something cool, you're going to then want to do that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of the girls that I used to work with, and you know, there's like a taste for everybody. There's a flavor for everybody. And like, that's what's cool about like putting yourself in the spotlight. It's like, you can be a representation for someone no matter what you stand for. Right.
Yeah.
There needs to be a little of everything. There needs to be representation for everybody. So that little girl or little boy sitting at home watching you do this show, watching you do whatever we do, can be like, oh, I relate to that. That could be me, because I see me in her. I see me in him.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
What was your, like, when you look back, besides Ellen, who were your, like, did you have any athletic role models or representation?
The female fighters. So
Yeah.
I looked up to Chris Cyborg was like a big female fighter at the time. She was such a badass and like so strong and powerful. Gina Carano was another one back then that I looked up to. They were just these ass-kicking, beautiful women that were doing such a good job. Before it was popular to be an athlete and brand yourself. You know, I feel like athletes used to just be athletes,
right,
to a certain extent, and until we started getting like, besides like the major personalities of the past, obviously you have the Michael Jordans and stuff like that, but it became like apparent to me when watching them, like, oh, they're not just fighters, they're like these personalities.
Yeah.
And I just saw like a vision of some sort. I don't know that I knew exactly what it would lead to, but I saw something of like, I want to do that. I want to be a fighter because I'm aggressive and that's my nature and I think I could be great at it. But also I could maybe, you know, host a show also or have a brand or whatever. And that's kind of like just what I wanted. I like performing.
Isn't that so cool how you're like, I just had this vision.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't really know what it was.
No.
But like you put it out there and then your perfect job, like, formed.
Lands in my lap. Yeah,
That's
it's
really
very weird.
crazy.
I'm very big on manifestation because of that. And I mean, also like just believing in yourself before anybody else does is a big thing that I go by. Even now in this like this next evolution of my life that I'm about to enter and this next phase, I feel so confident with myself that like I got this thing under wrap. Like I've been here before. It's not the first time that I manifested and created a world for myself to thrive in. Yeah. And so I'm like excited because I'm like, I like the power being in my hands.
Yeah.
I like the control being in my hands because if I fail, it's on me. If I succeed, it's also on me.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the one like bittersweet part of it is like, it feels good to have my power back and to be like, oh, this next chapter is about to be crazy because I know what I'm capable of.
Yeah, that's such a good way of like going into it and such a like a great foundation. I feel like for moments like this, I want to hear more about because you did spend your formative years with the WWE. So I want to hear more about like what are you? I'm sure it's a slur of like emotions. Like I want to hear what are you most excited about and what are you most sad about?
Yeah, it's crazy. I was signed at I think 21 and I'm 31 and we just parted ways a week ago.
Yeah.
So it's crazy and I'm still processing it. So I don't have all the answers yet. 10 of the coolest years of my life. I got to grow up in that world and a lot of my ideologies and my mentalities were shaped by that company, which were cool because it gave me more of a work ethic than I even had, like no other, time management skills, traveling all over the world, seeing all kinds of things with my friends. I mean, I had some of the best times ever. I've been to like 50 countries, like wrestled everywhere. It was so fun. But I've always known that there was going to be different chapters of my life, you know, and I have so many dreams and like I said earlier, like acting was my first love. And so I want to nourish that and I want to feed that. Ironically, and I'm so big on like signs from the universe, the irony or no irony at all, but the week I parted ways with WWE, I simultaneously booked my first big movie project, which is, as you know, why I'm out here. Yes. So it's like, that's not happenstance, you know, and I had done a good amount of auditions throughout the year and, you know, nothing worked out like we wanted. And then to have the first big one hit the same week, it's not irony. I think it's just really a testament to what my next path is.
Totally.
You know, and there's a lot of, I have so many things. I'd be lying if I said I was just sitting at home the last 2 weeks. I obviously am upset and there's things I'm going to miss, but at the end of the day, I'm a hustler and I have 2 kids and a wife to take care of. And so I have been working my butt off since the moment I got the phone call and I don't know if wrestling's over for me yet. So that's something that, I'm figuring out right now too. And I'm giving myself the time to really decide what the next moves are. But we have some really fun things in the works that I'm excited to share with everybody.
I think it's like so amazing that your first kind of chapter was so big.
Yeah.
And I'm on the same page. I truly believe like whatever gets taken away is just for something bigger to get put in its place.
100%.
And so it's like to think that like what is going to be, you know, what is going to come next. Yeah.
It's so
such an exciting thing.
And it's like, I'm very in a mentality of like, nothing happens to you. It happens for you.
Yeah.
So like, I don't have an ounce of anger, regret. I mean, even the sadness is just missing the moments.
Yeah.
But the sadness isn't like, oh my God, I want to be back there right this second. Like it truly isn't. It's like, no, I'm so at peace with what's happening because I'm such a strong believer in the universe.
Yeah.
Whatever the powers that be are, I'm a believer because I know that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I know that there's bigger things out there for me. And what a great 10-year foundation laid.
Yeah.
What a great first chapter of my adulthood. But yeah, I've collected more knowledge, wisdom, life experiences than I could ever anywhere else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
I am just like so in line with that mentality. And I feel like just meeting you once, you just like fill a room and you're so bright and happy and a good energy. And I just feel like I can't wait to see what's next. So
I'm excited.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing.
Me.
I have one more question that I ask everybody.
Let's hear it.
It's what are you working on in therapy?
Oh, okay. Getting deep here. I'm gonna sweat again. Being present probably is my biggest flaw.
Okay.
I'm always on the go. I'm always, me and my mentor, we call them scams, but it really means like projects.
Okay.
I'm always on to the next scam, meaning like I'm always on the next project. I'm always hustling this or, you know, on the phone with this person about this. I work a lot and I stay very busy minded. And so having those unwind moments to have a still moment with myself or with my family is something that I'm working on.
How do you do that? Like physically, how do you?
So I've realized I need to fill my work cup all day long. Like I need to have my work day.
Okay.
So I need to work out. I need to go to the gym. I need to eat all my protein. I need to get my meals in. I need to make phone calls. I need to, you know, do content. I need to do whatever I need to do throughout the day. And then at night, I'm able to shut it off a little and be present. And we're a very together family in our household. We do dinner together every night and we do like a little movie or TV show before the kids go to bed. So that's kind of been like my unwritten rule, is that like, and my wife's like the best and so easy. Like, let me get all my hustling out in the work day hours, even though I'm not a 9-to-5er, but like, let me have that. And then at night, I'm yours.
Yeah. You like feel like, okay, I've accomplished that and you can like reward it.
But I can't, exactly. And I'm messed up in the head that way, maybe from all the years of competing or whatever. But like, I can't justify sitting on the couch and like watching a movie in the middle of the day if I haven't gotten what I need to do done.
Yeah. I feel like presence is something that I really try to focus on.
Yeah.
And I feel like something that has really helped me is gratitude, like
fair
journaling, or even if you're not into the journaling thing, like just sitting in a moment and being like, my life will never be like it is right in this moment. So true. Like I remember I had a dog that I had for 12 years and he had cancer and I like knew that he was kind of passing.
Right.
And so I would go like up on the rooftop and sit with him and just be like, in 6 months, this probably won't be this way. So I just want to like really be happy and grateful for this moment right now. Yes. And I feel like that really helps me
100%
day to day to just be like, you know what? The way our life is right now, it might not be like this in a year. So like, that's cool. You know, like
so cool.
Love it.
I'm the same exact way. And like, I say it all the time to my wife and she says it too, but like, I'm always like, we have our health, we have our family. Like we're so blessed.
Yeah.
We are so blessed. And whatever trials and tribulations come from here on out, like we can handle it.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. What a perfect way to end. Can you tell people where to find you?
Yes. Across all social media platforms, look up Daria Berenato. TikTok. I'm on, we're on YouTube now. Me and my wife are starting a little show that you might see soon. You get the exclusive. I think this is the first time maybe I'm publicly saying this. It's called Unwrapped with Tony and Daria.
Love.
So it is really fun, really laid back. has a little candy challenge in it because I got to bring in the food element. But it's super fun. We're going to be having celebrity guests. We're going to be chatting amongst ourselves about kind of like a 21st century modern lifestyle podcast where, yeah, all the things basically we talked about today.
I love it.
We are abnormal, but also so normal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cannot wait to listen.
I'm excited. We got to have you guys on.
Yes.
We'll make it happen.
All right, perfect.
Thanks, guys.
We played the game.
Okay.
It's called You Haul or You Ghost.
Oh, I'm scared.
Red flag, green flag. She's perfect in every way, but maybe just this like one little quirk.
Yep.
You
So
know,
am I saying you haul or you ghost?
You haul or
That's
you
my
ghost,
answer. Okay,
yes.
got it.
Okay, you go to her house and she doesn't have any books.
Oh, you haul. I don't like. I'm not a reader.
Yeah, this doesn't bother me
That doesn't bother
either.
me. I mean, like, yeah, I want you to have intellect and insight, but like now in our digital world, you can get that from podcasts
Or Audible.
Fair.
Yes, I agree. This one does not bother me.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay, you haul. All right, your first date is a coffee date. And on this coffee date, she has like an insane order. That's her regular order. It's like, okay, Trenta iced coffee, 2 pumps vanilla, 4 pumps skinny mocha, splash of soy, coffee quarter of the way up the cup, double blended.
I would expect my wife to do that. So you haul.
This is you.
This is me.
What's your coffee order?
It's kind of cute. I mean, I don't know. She changes it all the time, but it'll definitely be like sub out the milk, add this, but no, less pumps of sugar. Like, it'll be like that, but that's cute.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay,
She's
you
particular. She knows what she likes.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What about the lights inside of her apartment are fluorescent hospital lights, but she likes them and she won't change them.
Is this stuff people care about?
Okay, that is a you ghost for me.
What?
I am so weird about aesthetic and interiors. A lot of the times when I say you ghost on this, it's because of interior decorating stuff.
Wait. Oh my God. Well, there's so many perspectives. You can come in. Oh, she won't let you change it.
No, she loves these lights. They're like, you know what
So
I'm
they're going to make
about,
every
hospital.
selfie video. Like
it's
going to look
You look
awful, terrible
awful.
lighting. Okay. I mean, I get your point, but
bad.
I'm going to U-Haul it.
Oh my God.
These aren't my red flags.
What is one?
I mean, lazy.
Okay. I'm like, you can be lazy. Just don't have fluorescent lights.
Yeah. I mean, lazy or like, makes a big deal out of small things. Like, we got to just keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, well, turns out I'm a little bit more picky than you are.
You're like fluorescent lights. I'm like, I'm just happy she has her own place. I think my standards have been too low. Thank God I found my wife. She's an angel. But prior to her, it was like, yeah, if you're not living at your parents' house, that is a score.
Win.
That is a big win.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were in the trenches.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. As always, help us spread the gay agenda by writing an Apple review, rating us on Spotify, and sharing with everyone you've ever met. And if you haven't yet, join our subscription community, Made It In, for exclusive Made It Out media shows, content, and chat rooms at madeitout.supercast.com. Made It Out is produced by Matilda Jordan and worked on solely by lesbians.
Dating a wrestler, you got me in a chokehold. Now pin me down good. Okay.
It's pretty hot. That was a good one.
That's hot. That's accurate.